Yes, this should be a very good show. There's a lot of telepathy and intuition, in the air, and I don't know. We had, oh, I had something happen. Like, yeah, that day. It was like what, like 10 days ago. I got up one day and I came over and sat down and do my work, and your face popped up on the screen. And I'd already been having some things happen. I thought, oh well, you know what? I've always believed that you share that stuff because you never know. It may not make sense at a rational level or a linear level, but I think there's always code in sharing the things that occur to us. So, and then you wrote me back, and I said, hey, this happened. I don't know what it means, but I didn't even ask you to be on the show. And you were like, I was thinking that we should probably do a show now and then. And I had been thinking the same thing, and I realized that's what that whole transmission was me picking up on her or picking up on us, and it's happened with other people. So, and then you're like, hey, I'll get back with you. And then here it is, the 3rd of July, which is a full moon. Okay. I realized last night when I went for a walk and the hair on the back of my neck was standing up.
Hmm.
And all these deep dives right now, man, it's just like July 1, July 2, now July 3, going into July 4, which will be an Independence Day energy type of. But yeah, let me just kind of conclude it and intro you in. So today, right before this happened, like I've just been an absolute since 6:30 this morning. It is now 2 o'clock here. I have been just a bag of potatoes. I got so much to do. We got a Soulogy Fest coming in December. We got the network's expansion with other people's programs that I'm supposed to be working on. And man, I tell you what, I feel like that, like something's just ripped the guts out of me. Just ripped it out like at the end of Braveheart. When they kill him and they pull his guts out. And so, what happened was, I have been trying to handle everything myself. And other than doing this stuff, and if I hang out with you or anyone like you, a lot of these ladies that come on, I get a lot out of it. It's helpful for me. I mean, I'm literally on the verge of tears, and so without going any deeper, because this is about what you have to share, but I think it's significant. So I get this. I'm messaging with a friend, a collaborator, and they said to me, "How do you feel today?" And I said, "I feel like I'm collapsing." And they said, "Well, that's good, because that's when the mother holds you."
Hmm.
This actually happened a while, but at the same time, I get a text from another friend that I hadn't spoken to directly in 4 or 5 months, and they write me this kind of long paragraph, and at the end it says, like, it basically said, "I don't know what's going on with you, but just know that you're." It was a very nice message. Know that you're loved. Know that you've touched a lot of people, like you have me, and I don't know what you're going through, but the mother is holding you.
Hmm.
So they
That's
both
it.
said the same thing. And I have a feeling because um, I saw your part of your video and your post on Monday, I believe it was last Monday. Or somewhere around there, the divine feminine was like getting turned on, and then some of the other stuff that you and others wrote about the masculine and feminine energy within ourselves that was making some moves. So I'm excited to hear about what you have to say. Welcome back, Ramona. I love to collaborate with you, and I appreciate your friends coming in and sitting in as well. I'm happy that they're able to do that. So welcome back.
A great bunch. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, divine timing. And it's all happening right now. That's all I can see and feel. And we have to remember the only true reality is right now, right here. And everything else is like imagination, projection. Like if we talk about real, what's even real? It's like consciousness, just you eternally pure consciousness, forever redreaming, reimagining itself. So it's like right now your gut's been taken out. I think it's like, especially for the masculine, what I'm seeing is because the divine unions are bringing everything home, and it's happening right now. Like this is already that this is it's done. so done. We're
I,
so
s- I,
done.
s- I picked up on that too. You know, I
It's
picked up on that in
yeah,
your energy,
right now.
because you had the masculine, no, the feminine. I saw that post, and then and I was seeing other ones that were aligning with it, and then I saw the one one in midweek about the masculine, and I saw others on it, and then the last ones that I picked up on you, and it could have been yesterday, the day before, maybe 3 days back, where you and I got the feeling. I didn't have time to listen to much of it. I didn't have time to read much of it, but I got the energy of it, and this would have been like the 30th or the first, and it felt what I felt from your energy or from your message was that this is fucking done. Okay, like that's what
Mm.
I got from you. What does that mean?
Well, what I've been seeing and working on specifically has been really the last few wounds between the masculine and the feminine fully
Mm-hmm.
healing now.
Mm-hmm.
So that video of the divine feminine speaking was really just like the divine feminine just needed to like within us all, this is beyond gender. You know, these are
Right, right.
energies, principles, because what's happening with the masculine right now is that he's fully reclaiming his own divine inner feminine, because we're all rebirthing in a slightly more feminine blueprint, more magnetic, which we have to be in order to return to mother supermagnetism, which is very much connected to the magnetic pole and field shift and flip, which is fully completing now. Like what I've been working on and seeing yesterday and today, which is also very much connected to the divine masculine and feminine fully merging in divine hierogamic union, which is bringing all of this home, because this is at the core of everything, is the macabic field is fully corrected now. So it's completing corrected, like it's done, it's here, it's fully anchored, activated in the field, fully online, but it's going out. Yeah. So when I speak about kind of what's happening within the core of the cosmic monad that we all kind of birth forth from and always return to. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. And what was I saying?
You're talking about the
It,
hieroglyphic.
the hierogamic, exactly. That
Hieroglyphic.
Freudian slip there, Todd. So yeah, it's getting very it's getting hot in here, that's for sure. So the hierogamic unions are bringing everything back home. And what I've been seeing was the divine. At the core of all of this, I see is as the masculine and feminine were an androgynous body originally. Yeah. And that's kind of the energetic blueprint we're returning to, but whilst we're in separate masculine and feminine bodies. And it's like the feminine is like reclaiming, you know, her divine feminine and masculine parts. Like we all need to integrate both of these parts. And the divine feminine with that video was just kind of clearing the field of, because what I saw happening at the original point of the split, of the divide, of the fragmentation, especially between the masculine and feminine, was that it's like the heart and the mind split, and then it's like the mind or the masculine energies and principles were projecting their unacknowledged shadow aspects onto the feminine, but the feminine took it. So because the distorted feminine is the one who's a victim, you know, she takes it and she's the codependent and she likes to fix and heal everyone, yeah, and make everyone right. But she's putting herself last, you know, this kind of mother archetype that's also promoted of sacrifice yourself beyond everything else, you know, for your children, for your family, you know, put yourself last. And that's what many of us have been doing that have been more here to anchor the feminine archetype. But these are also distortions. So it's about getting rid of all of the distortions, because we have both of them, masculine and feminine. Mm-hmm. Kind of that was the feminine part. And then the day after, I actually had a group call with my group container. And we were more talking about also the divine twin flame, or, you know, the new divine relationship blueprints and templates, which again are at the core of everything for me, because Ascension for me is about polarity integration, integrating the masculine and the feminine in this hierogamic union within, which is you in divine hierogamic union, first of all, with your true, authentic, eternal self, which is at one with source, which is at one with all of creation. There's no more separation. All of these false realities have been fully transcended, dissolved. This is freaking done. And as the divine masculine and feminine have fully merged now, like they're literally like between the twin flames, especially in this, you know, like those that resonate with that template, although we're all part of this. There have been huge activations happening as they're literally merging the masculine and the feminine. And this is also including the merge of the meta and antimatter. This is like including the whole cosmos. It's including, you know, all of our levels, like molecular levels, subatomic, you know, atomic, cellular levels. And we're literally transcending through the zero-garmic union of the masculine and feminine within, as well as, you know, some of this happening with people in our lives. And this is really Ascension, because you're transcending all of these polarities. So what is 3D reality based upon? Polarized, you know, and distorted polarization. So it's like man versus woman, you know, there's this gender war divide that has been fully healed now with Aisha. And this is at the core of everything, because it's then races, tribes, because this is what we're healing. We're healing the cosmic monad, but at the core of everything is the split of the masculine feminine. They've been in one physical body, they were split. Projection happens. And again, we all have this, you know, we can see now in our lives, we always, you know, projecting our own unacknowledged shadow aspects from one way, layer, level, you know, shape and form onto one another. The parts we're not accepting, you know, the mind, not listening to the heart that knows. It's like, okay, everything I'm judging, I'm being triggered by, I have an opinion about, it's like separating me from aspects of myself that I'm here to integrate. And especially twin flames mirror these most unacknowledged parts and, you know, wounds and traumas to one another in order to resolve and heal them, which is what we have done, as I'm seeing, as one cosmic monad. And the divine feminine and masculine merge right now between the twin flames, it's like heart, mind, body, and soul has been merged. And it's literally just like, this is any moment now going to pop out into our reality. Because for me, they carry the Edenic paradisian codes. We're talking about the original twin flames, founder races, race, tribes, which are here to stand for these 12 original strands of DNA, which is now 15. And it's also a 15-dimensional chakra system, but it's really beyond that. I mean, we can talk about the, you know, the tree of life. What I've been seeing is the masculine and feminine tree of life, or a meta-antimatter tree of life, is fully merging to create this new divine organic creatrix field. And this is what is birthing New Earth. And again, it's fully timeless. This is like going to happen ultimately in a blink of an eye. It's been a massive undertaking, but it's a holographic projection. So it's not real. Anything, you know, that's physical, it's not real, as in it's transient. It's the same as nobody owns anything here. Everything is borrowed. That's, you know, you don't own anything and you will be happy is actually very true. It's just you need to re-reverse, you know, all of these concepts. The same with the Great Reset. This is a great reset, but not what they, you know, those crazy psychopaths have in mind. They're done for. They're so done for. And what's happening right now with the 777, divine unions are here. This is fully quantum completed. This is like, oh my God. This is the ultimate, you know, Hierogamic Union wedding event. Plus, this is completing our ascension. This is the cosmic heart rose is going to explode. This is the supernova of the heart event. We are popping wide open. I think we can all feel it. These heart activations, opening, sealings have been massive, especially for the masculine. And you just need to fully fucking surrender to source now. Leave all of your freaking programming, thought forms, and belief systems that have been given to you, also in spirituality, and just leave them out there.
Yeah.
You just need to really just like clear your field, empty yourself, and let source redream reality through you now. And the 777 is like, I've been shown, I was trying to, just before the call, put together a call and activation together for that day. And it was funny because I'm like we're done here. We don't need to do anything. But then we're also holding these containers multidimensionally, you know, so it's like it's feeling to you as well. Like the 3D part is so weird. You don't even want to interact with the 3D part of putting anything together right now. Right. Because you know it's done, you know? But you kind of, in a way, not have to, but you know, if you're guided to and you feel, you know, those moments when it's like, but you know, it's like, this is important, you know, on a deep level, where we are creating and have been creating all of these containers and whatever, you know, we are creating, co-creating with our soul family in order to activate this at a higher dimensional level. So, you know, as I say to you just before you press recording, it's like, you know, let's imagine we're all together in the studio together now. Like on any kind of call activation, let's imagine all the time we are already together in the physical, because this is what's activating now. Everything is fully quantum completing. And again, this heart opening is a massive part of this. And this is what I see. And again, it's beyond the 777 day, but that is massive.
Well,
This is it.
yeah, I think after I talked to you, what was it, like maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago? It was about 2 weeks ago. About 2 weeks ago, I started seeing 777 everywhere. I went to my mother's house. I'm turning left. I look at this
2020.
building. It says 777. I kept getting this 777. And then I got the impression that, as you know, like a couple of days ago, I'm like, what is 777? Well, that's 21. It's, it's 3. But I felt it very personally. Like, I felt like it was like my masculine and my feminine within myself, basically getting to know each other, or getting to know myself as I would normally try to get to know someone else, something like that. But it was all in me. And so now, listening to you, so what you're saying, if I get this right, is we're going to start to see these hariogasmic sacred union in the physicality, right? Like, so they're going to start popping up. My question to you is, do you feel like you're going to collapse before it happens? Because I feel like I'm fucking.
The rapture.
I feel like I'm dying, man. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like.
but you have to fucking die. Okay, you
Yeah.
need to die. Just surrender. All right.
Yeah.
You have to die upon your false self that thinks it's even real. That's believing you are Todd and you have a
Right.
finite.
True.
You're in
True.
this body, and you're seeing yourself as separate from
Right.
all of creation, because that's the whole thing. As you said, all of this is you. Everything you see, everything is you. And until we get to that point, which we are now, we live in forgetfulness and separation. We are half asleep. Even us calling ourselves awakened, we are just activated, as I rather call it.
Right.
But we're all fully awakening as one now to our oneness that is inherently so. So we will be fully realized, again, getting to know your true self. And it doesn't matter even if you think we have a twin flame or not. You always have a divine masculine or feminine, like your other, energetic counterpart in your field. So I believe, again, these are blueprints and templates, and we're just trying to put it into words. We like to symbolize things and archetypally, to understand it, of course. But there's also a lot more behind it, because this is a big love story, ultimately, of the one. It's you. Like, I see the supernova of the heart event, or however you want to call it, as ultimately the moment of total self-love. And when you fully, totally love yourself, you love everything else. Like, this is, when you had these moments of total expansion, oneness, and you're just in love bliss. And this is ultimately you fully letting go of your separate version of self, which is an illusion. So the false ego. This is fully, like I saw today, the divine masculine fully freaking burning all the cords, hooks, anything, all these illusions of the false matrix fully down, rising all the hell the way up.
Yeah.
Like, I've been working very strongly with my twin, who I really just have contact with telepathically, and also the 777 is a huge number that I would connect with him, as well as it's a number of, obviously, spiritual awakening. This year is the 7th year. This is also a number connected to the ancestral clearing, because this is what all of this has been about. So, like, I have a post I'm gonna post soon where I collected, some of what's been highlighted right now, and one of the main things is the ancestral clearing, all of the ancestral baggage, which is really us who hold, who are part of these core tribes, the 12 tribes, who are the original founder races, who have created all of creations. It's us. We're not waiting for anyone here. We are here to make the magic happen. And they are remembering who they really are, which is your multidimensional DNA really activating all together as the cosmic monad. But these original twin flames, they carry these, because these are, again, these 12, they represent this. And again, we're all part of this, because separation doesn't really exist. It's just that some of us are right now being activated into the remembering, okay, how we're bringing this all to its full quantum completion, because we do need to, connect right now with our soul tribes and true beloveds that we really resonate with. Because again, when we bring a fully sovereign, God sovereign, free container, aka your energetic field, together with others that are also sovereign, so no longer, this kind of feeding frenzy of the codependent, narcissistic, victimizer, role plays that we have been playing, but really fully sovereign, we are tripling our power or more. Because if it's just two or more people coming together, dreaming the same dream, supporting each other's, aspirations, like this is all about right now. We need to make the cosmic reunion happening. We can't just sit here and wait. This is why we have created these containers. Again, this is multidimensional. Here's my daughter Lara.
You have a daughter.
Yes, I have
Hello.
her. Did you not
Hello.
know?
How are you? You're beautiful.
Mr. Hyla. She is
Very beautiful.
beautiful. Can you hear me? I hope. I just took the headphones off.
Oh wow.
Want to say hi, Lara?
Hi.
How are you? You look
Good.
beautiful. You look beautiful, like your mom.
We're right now in Hove, which is actually part of Stargate 11 that links into, but it's Island's Eye, and I'm looking at it. I need to actually try and show you if you can see this because
Mommy.
it's a sight to be seen. Yes, Lara? Oh,
Since you
one
rented
sec.
the movie, I'm watching it.
You're watching a movie? Which one?
Wow.
I don't know if you can see it. Can you?
Yes, I can see it. Where are you? What is it?
So this is north of Dublin.
Okay.
Kind of still Dublin.
Okay.
It's north. It's like a peninsula. It's called Hove. Like she lives here with her dad most of the time,
Okay.
with his new partner and her 2 children. So, and I basically displaced, oh my God, like, so because we stayed in a different place
Uh-huh.
and something, the electronics are going all crazy now.
Wow, that was
I
trippy.
know.
That always happens on these shows.
Like she's highly coded and full of
I can
light.
tell. Well, I mean, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
They're next level, they're the next generation. But yeah,
Oh,
she doesn't
absolutely.
know anything about it. I told her, don't snigger or laugh in the background.
I went and met my daughter last night to play. She wanted to play chess, and some of her friends showed up. So they're 20 and 21, and one of them sat down across from me and she goes, "Can I ask you a question? My mother went to a medium because my grandmother had passed, and the medium told her, your daughter is a starseed. You need to go tell her." So she went and tells my daughter's friend that the medium told her she was a starseed. She goes, because they know I'm weird. So she's like, "Can I ask you what is a starseed?" And then the other one, there was another kid next to her, a boy, and so everybody was talking about that, wanting to know about that. And I thought, wow, this is going to be huge. As these kids, these young people start, how do you stop that? I mean, that is heaven on earth, what they're bringing to the table.
Well, I'm just hoping for them to awaken fully.
Mommy,
Yeah.
What?
I'm watching the movie you rented.
Okay. All
Uh-huh.
right. All right. Okay. Just one.
Bye
Bye.
bye. I was
What
gonna
is it?
I was gonna mention a couple of things too based on what you said. And one, okay, I've died many times, like over the last 12 years, especially the first 2 years when I walked the streets homeless. That's what I was doing, dying. And all the stuff that goes with it. To me, this kind of I could feel this coming, like the last 2 weeks, like maybe since solstice. But it felt like even today, I literally was paralyzed. I literally could feel like my guts being torn out of me. And I thought, man, this is different than before. This feels like the whole thing. Like you're literally going to go dive into a lava pit or, something where you're just disintegrated. So I just wanted to make that difference. But the other thing that you said was earlier when you said we're going to do a Soulogy Fest in December, and again, I'm expanding the network, other people's shows coming on. So this requires work. It requires, doing things. And what you were saying earlier, there's this feeling of almost like, why are you doing this? Like it doesn't feel the same. It feels like it's done. But at the same time, to your point earlier, you said something about you still got to go out and as you're guided to go out and do these things. I think that's important. But to me, it does feel like this is very, very different. Like whatever's being created physically, if you want to use that word, is very, very different. I can't explain it. I don't know if you can shed any light on that.
Well, it's because this is the full completion of the convergence of all realities, realms, timelines, universes, dimensions. So it's like, I mean, this is literally fully quantum completing. I mean, it's like how long are we going to even look at these screens anymore?
Right.
This will be redundant. But again, because again, the same was with, am I even need to put a call together for the 777, activation? Because I never want to feel like you need to do anything for any specific date or for,
Right.
anything beyond just the guidance. And I was just shown that this is a huge hierogamic union completion. And I'm here because of the template I hold also. This is kind of like, this is my baby. It's like, this is what I literally came here for and I've been birthed into to complete all of this. Like as one, you know what I mean? But we hold a container. We also need to remember the power we hold. And that's how I always want to, what I always want to remind everyone of. And when we together in groups have these dreams together of, let's say, whenever I do an activation or whatever, it's like also tune into us just doing this physically now, for example. Or, when we dream New Earth together into manifestation and really truly believe in a container and share our dreams, they're being so amplified. Because again, as we come into full divine union with Source, you become, like in alignment with divine will. And this is Source streaming through you. And as you do this as a group, you hold these shields. These are group shields. These are energetic fields. Like there's so much more to it than us, what we're doing in 3D. And I've been shown again and again, it's like you keep making the magic happen as you walk the path, because we keep making this up as we go along. There is not much set here. I know that the internet is going all crazy. I don't know what's going on. Also, the energies are so intense. I've just been gate and grid keeping here around Dublin, and this place is super powerful. So it links into Cornwall and close to Stonehenge. It's basically part of the 11th Stargate. And powerful. Oh my God. Like the grids are about to be fully lit up. Our light bodies, our macabres have been fully realigned, the masculine and the feminine. The core, this is the cosmic staff and the cosmic rod, which is usually the feminine and the masculine. And basically how I see this is that the masculine and feminine are fully merged as well as separate. So it's like masculine, feminine, and this is also part of the pole shift of them fully merging as one. So it's happening from within you. And I think this is the final rapture, which is the love bliss, when you fully let go of your, separate sense of self. So we're transcending all illusions of separation and this false matrix right freaking now. This is it. This is the party. The party is fully on. And you just literally need to, like now, it's really just knowing that it's already here now. And you keep merging with that. The same as when you talk about quantum healing, you're already healed. Right. This is not about time. It's always been about consciousness. And what I meant to say earlier, so after the Divine Feminine video I did, I had a call with my group container and we went further into the masculine of also seeing why does he project, and then sometimes like the masculine mind, principal energies, they kind of double down. Sometimes people see that they've been projecting onto you, but then like it's like that they have this moment of clarity, but then they actually double down and then they demonize you a little bit more. And in the end they make up all of these stories of like, you're the villain basically, because they can't go that far of facing their own blame and shame and guilt, their own shame and guilt. But you also need to see, it's like we're fully dissolving the victim-victimizer consciousness. So this distorted polarity and war and divide between the genders, which has been mainly playing out between victim-victimizer consciousness, the codependent, narcissistic, role plays. Right. La, can you please turn this all the way down? Thank you. And
I have 6, so I'm used to it.
It's funny. I've been listening to a lot of YouTube, like in the background, but it's funny what comes up in the consciousness. Generally, it doesn't matter what it is. It's all part of it. But yes, it's raining. Yay! It's been like April. There was actually a rainbow early on. So rainbow rounds, everything is being activated. So what I was talking about, distorted polarity. The victim-victimizer game. It's like the feminine within us all has to stop playing the victim, fully being deleted, no more blaming. And the
Right.
masculine fully then can also heal the guilt and the shame.
Right.
Because the narcissistic blueprint, I know there's so many people out there who are like having this whole warfare against the narcissist, you know, and they're like heartless and whatever. And we all have these aspects.
We all have
You need
that.
to-
That's the thing.
Yeah. You need to see that.
I
So
wanna-
until I saw my own covert narcissistic aspect, I was, oh yeah, okay,
Right.
there you are. You know, and then you're fine
Right.
kind of.
I want to
And then
ask
you don't
you.
need to keep popping up in your reality. Sorry.
I want to ask you because you just said something I think that would be very useful. It would be
Oh,
very
don't say.
useful. You were talking about how
I get in here.
when somebody has a revelation of how they've been projecting on you or how they've been seeing you or how they've been blaming you or whatever, they have this revelation and then they double down. Now, if what is happening, and I fully believe what is happening, what you're explaining, because I'm feeling it and I know it, will everybody after the double down, then what happens? Does the person then have another revelation and balance out? Is the double downing just kind of like a last ditch effort kind of thing, or does it remain?
Well, it depends on what person you're talking about within the great collective. We all need to make, you know, free will choices. This is literally all about us regaining free will. As in, we spoke about this in our last conversation. It's actually a good point to bring in. As in, so what is all this fallen consciousness is about? It's ultimately you regaining your own, through your experiences, through the timelines and, you know, everything we've taken part in throughout the eons, which is a lot, to find out what's working, what's not working. So really like good and bad in a way. So we have found our own way to good and bad, but it's a multidimensional, you know, way
Right.
of looking at reality. So it's not this dogmatized, religious, spiritual version of right, wrong, good, bad, black and white. It's multicolored. And you need to know in every now moment what is the highest truth.
Yeah.
Because there's not just one truth. There are many layers to all of this. So what were we getting at?
Well, like what happens in the evolution? You said it depends on who the person is, and I get what
Oh,
you're
yes,
saying.
exactly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but sometimes, you know, I mean, I have so many people who in my life, you know, they see deep down, everybody knows the truth. And this is arising. But some individuals within a consciousness, they have just digressed too much because they kept not, because when you are narcissistic, like to good percentage, okay, you keep giving your power away by projecting all of what's wrong in your world onto others. It's everyone else's fault. So they're not taking any responsibility or accountability of creating their reality. This is you giving your power away. The same as the victim gives the power away
It's like a
because
double
they're saying,
negative.
it's, yeah, but we're all doing it. You know,
Right,
we have
yeah, of
all been
course,
doing
yeah.
it to different levels. And it's also important to acknowledge when people do wrong. That's the other part. You know, we can't just say also within the oneness, yes, everything is ultimately perfect. Whatever you decide to do or not do is ultimately perfect, but you also need to learn from it. It's the, we need to integrate the paradoxes, the opposites, the, you know, dichotomy. That's Ascension, but that makes no sense to the polarized brain. The same
Right.
when I sometimes speak or in the video of the Divine Feminine to someone who's still stuck in the old mindsets and belief systems, they see me as being the victim, playing the victim, but I'm not at all in that energy. It's just you still need to call a spade a spade.
Yes.
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
It's the both end, whilst you're not playing the victim anymore. It's the energy you're coming from, because this is beyond words, because the problem is with words. You, me, us, them, past, present, future, everything is in opposites. It creates separation by nature. What we're accessing now is way beyond words. These divine union energies, you know, it's like the Rumi poem. It's like, you know, there's just, you're just in this field of oneness, and like even the words of you and me don't make any sense.
Right.
Whilst we're also integrating the self-realization, because that's the new template. It's like we're taking ourselves beyond where we were before, because before we were in a kind of oneness, in like kind of the paradisian times, where we're just following the word of God. We didn't have, you know, sovereignty as such.
Right.
So we had to go through the fallen consciousness. That's why everything is perfect, in order to come back and then see, okay, now I know what works and what doesn't, because I have learned from my experiences. But if you constantly blame someone else for everything that goes wrong in your life, you can't do that.
Right.
And the ticket to New Earth is literally, you have to be the creator of your own reality. It's like, yes, if somebody does, you know, stupid things in your life and that affects you, you need to call it out and say, this is not okay. But you don't make yourself a victim of it, of saying, this is gonna,
Right.
you know, derail my reality or whatever, or that, you know, you need to be the most powerful
That's right.
force of truth in your life. So that's, you know, again, you need to also stop idolizing people out there, whether it's me or other spiritual teachers, doesn't matter who it is, your parent or partner or even child, and really just know that doesn't matter, you know, in every now moment, if you're truly connected to your heart and to source, which is Ascension, is all about you becoming at one with source. That's really divine union. It's not about some other counterpart. They're just a projection of that in the end, of like your truest version of the divine masculine or feminine, because you're in your true version. You know, it's the same as people have been stuck in like karmic or false twin flame relationships, however we want to call them. You have not been in your true self. That's why we have been attracting other people not in their true self. We have been healing our wounds. Everything is totally perfect. As long as we can see it as this and transcend this false duality, that's the thing. But you need to step out of the victim-victimizer consciousness, fully transcend this all, as seeing, okay, here, we're playing a role, but ultimately even the ego is being played by source. Because when you look back at things where you're like, you know, you did stupid shit, and it's like your ego acting out, but it actually needed to happen to get you to exactly where you are. So it's still all perfect. The same with AI. When you saw me on the screen, for me, the main message is because we're taking everything over. I mean, I'm working on this in a very big way because we are one. And the mother is here. And the mother is being rebirthed within all. And the mother and the Magdalene and the Mary, she's the mother of God. You need to, masculine and feminine right now, realize the mother of God within you, rebirthing your reality from within. But you fully, need to dissolve, fully rupture. And this is total love bliss as you fully surrender to source, which is divine love, whatever that may mean to you. Ultimately, it's the ultimate moment of self-love, as I see it. Yes,
I got that last night when I connected. I was asking questions, and I said,
it's not important.
I said, "What is embodiment? Like, tell me what embodiment is." And I heard you can measure your level of embodiment by how much you love yourself. Right? So it was like, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about yourself? And I was like, a 10, you know, very, very humbly. And I'm not saying I'm feeling 100%, you know, bliss and joy, but I love myself. That's not really ever been a factor. And I thought, wow, to hold that frequency is really it. Like that is, and that's what I was feeling last night. I was even feeling it in my womb. What would be my womb? It was like,
yeah, but you have a cosmic womb. The masculine has. You're fully merging with that, and it's like it's happening through you, and it's just really consciousness experiencing itself in a body, and you think you are separate from your feminine, and this is what has caused a lot of the mayhem. Is that the masculine felt separate from the feminine. He had to push her down. He had to make her feel as less in order to hold the power, because she holds the power of creation. But as you realize it's within you and you're not separate from her, the same as the feminine has been wanting this reassurance and the, you know, like the masculine to tell her, you know, she's worthy in a way.
right.
By giving all of herself to try and fix him. But again, everything has been perfect in order to bring the divine masculine and feminine in, and we all have been integrating the opposites, but also, you know, clearing the false archetypes. And again, that's just the main part of the vision, you know, of all the other fractals, the 144,000 archetypes of the Godhead, you know, but at its core, you know, split was the masculine and the feminine, which is what divine union is all about. And again, divine union for me is Ascension. Just 1 second. What is it, Lara? Quickly.
It's all good.
An alarm went off? Just stop. Can you stop now, please? Thank you. Now.
No
Sometimes you think she's like 4 years old or like 13.
It's not it's not a problem. We welcome the energy.
Just likes to draw attention to her.
Well, when that
whatever
happened,
you want, as long as you don't endanger anyone.
when that happened last night, it was a lot of stuff in like I would say the womb area, but there was all this energy like just pouring out of me. This went on last night and the night before, and what ended up happening was I ended up shooting up like a giant, and like, you know, on the earth, shot up, and I'm walking on the earth, and I'm huge, right? I'm just, and I've had experiences like that before, but not like this. This was really physical, and I was looking down, and I was actually trying to be careful not to step on anybody because I was so big. And then I looked around and I saw another person pop up. It was almost like breaking through a dome of some sort, and like, or a ceiling of some sort. It was round, and having this whole other perspective that all this stuff that we talk about as humans and the things like you're talking about that are falling away, none of it even was there.
Doesn't exist.
It wasn't even there. We're
so
like,
fun thing.
Yeah.
Because it isn't real. It really isn't. I just know, and I've been showing very little of what it looks like, the reality that's beyond the screen, because unless you're really connected to organic reality, there's just, for me, 95% of artificial overlays, which are fully freaking dissolving in front of our eyes. And it's this, but again, we are building bridges because we're really transcending. It's like the merging of all of these dimensions and realms, and especially the lower chakra system, which is for me connected to dimensions 1, 2, and 3, which the main, mayhem has been obviously happening, and we were, disconnected from the higher dimensional layers and levels and realities. That's ultimately fully been, merged, unified within your field. So it's like seals, it's membranes, if we talk about like a dome over the earth, which is like kind of false overlay, it's like, I believe it doesn't matter how we experience it. You have this experience, I have had very similar, like, it's not, I wasn't a giant or anything. I just experienced what you're experiencing in a different way. So I will get a different visual. Okay. Me just kind of I do a lot with the diamond white flame, and I just go just cosmic, and just, I could see this whole artificial overlay, like, we're just so done right now because we're fully freeing ourselves from all these limiting belief systems and thought forms. And again, there's been a lot to this, obviously, to get us to this point. It's not just us imagining it's all gone, but again, how you are experiencing the confirmation in the field that this false overlay, this false matrix reality is fully dissolving right now. I believe that's what you saw. And I've been also shown this just differently. And I know that the signs are just freaking everywhere for weeks. And it's just been like clearing. But especially the last 2 days have been massive in bringing the masculine and feminine into full divine union. And this is it. Like, also, if you can say, you were talking about 1, 2, 3, today's the 3rd of July. And it's literally like a countdown. And this is beyond time, beyond a date, beyond the 777. This is so sealed, done and delivered already. It's just like, but again, we just need to follow one now moment after another. I am very happy in letting everything go in every one now moment. It's like you being able to just, let's say, just because if we are transitioning, you wouldn't, the Soulogy thing as it is now would be fully gone. You know what I mean? You need to be just fully ready at any now moment for anything physical to fully dissolve. Yeah. There's such a crazy delay here. I know I look all weird, but anyway, that's
no. You're coming out fine. You're coming out fine on our end.
Oh yeah. Yeah, okay, it's just to myself then, and I look.
There was another thing. Oh yeah. You were just talking about this again, so we must be picking up the same streams. But so what happened was I went through. You know how people talk about you want to go back to the first moment of separation, so you go back to the womb when you were entered into the womb, or when you came out at birth. I've heard people say it different ways. This was different. I went through, so it was the point of entering the realm, not just Earth realm, but the entire, like, I guess, galaxy or universe, right? It was a point, in other words, it wasn't just about
Inception point.
Huh? Yes.
Inception.
Yeah,
Inception.
it was the moment of inception, right before the memory swipe, and instead of going into this lifetime or, say, previous Earth planet lifetimes, it was actually all the lifetimes that, as I stepped into it, you could say, as I stepped into the inception point, memory swiped, I don't know who I am, I don't know who anyone is, I don't know anything, and the journey begins. But at the same time, I watched all these millions and millions of lifetimes, basically, that I would be having up to, all through the years, and then up to this point right now, right? But it was something about seeing things, like, I was at this point where it was like, okay, you're about to step into this. You know what you're getting into. You're gonna forget. It's gonna be, what it is. And it was like, and then I went into that shock of forgetting, and somehow or another, you talked about the polarities of it, of things, and it just kind of like all came together, and then that's when I ended up, having this communion, and ultimately ended up becoming a giant, and having the same kind of experience or the same type of awareness, but walking the earth. So it was something like that. And this is all in the last 2-3 days.
Yeah, it's been massive because, again, this is it. And I really mean that. So I feel it's very much connected to the inception point. So again, however we might imagine that, because in a way, when we think of the Adam and Eve stories, and like, I don't know, Eve being cut out of the rib of Adam, what I have been shown is that there was one original androgynous being. You could also compare that or symbolize it with the cosmic egg, or a original cell that everything in creation has been birthed from. So, it's ultimately, it's beyond gender. It's the same as God. We might be shown as Mother, Father, God, because ultimately that's what we're here to embody. The embodiment is us being the true divine, now triple solar, masculine and feminine embodiment. The triple also for me means like you're the, the crone, the mother and the maiden. So you're these three, different archetypes that we also are to one another. Also in twin flame relationships, I see it. It's very much this whole, you're kind of fathering and mothering one another, as well as you're the divine counterparts, and as well as sometimes, again, you're the child to one another, because you're really all of these things. And everybody, in reality could be seen as, your brother or sister, or mother or father or child, because ultimately we are from that one tribe. This is what we're kind of getting back to, where the 777 is this full completion of clearing all the tribes, all the bloodlines, all the races across the cosmos, because we are all originating from this original self, from this original androgynous being, no matter how you freaking put it, no matter who you think anyone is. Right. Now, every individual self will have made many experiences throughout the eons to now come out with, this is the final result of all of your choices. If you have digressed your template too much with service to self, where you're not taking any responsibility for your reality, it's just, it causes certain distortions within the template. And that happens to a lot of good people. A lot of this is sometimes, you don't even know. It's the same as some people think they do love themselves. They're actually narcissistic, pretending they love themselves. They don't know their true self. They would tell you they know themselves. But you know what I mean? You don't know what you don't know.
I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean, because I actually was shown that during that process, because I was shown. But remember these 2 periods in your life? So I was taken through those 2 periods of my life, and I was more narcissistic in my lack of empathy for other people. I was very much alpha male, and I was in the business world, and I was being shown you actually did love yourself, but it was unconscious. It wasn't what you thought. In other words,
you loved your fake self.
That's what they were saying. They were saying you were unaware. And so it was just a weird kind of thing. It was a weird one end of the spectrum to the other. And of course, getting that information, then being shown when I thought I was and I wasn't. And I was like, wow, that was huge, because I saw the end of it. Both periods were about 5 years, and I saw the end of it, and I remembered the end of it. I remember having that moment and going, fuck this, you're an asshole. Are you really? I remember one of them was I was traveling every week for like 10 years, so it would have been more than 5 years, or maybe it was that second part of that 10 years. And I would come home, and I had 3, 4, 5 kids in the house, and I would come in the door, and I was so in love with myself, and so self-important that I would barely greet my children, which are really my life, right? And I would go to my room and have to be alone to decompress, because my you know what I mean. But it was I wasn't seeing my children. I wasn't stopping and smelling the roses. So how could I love myself if I'm not holding what's external of me
Oh,
at an
I'm
equal
getting something
basis.
big right now. I'm getting something really big right now.
Bring
Okay,
it.
just dip deeper because I've been looking into the soul, like really also understanding the narcissistic archetype, because we need to bring compassion and understanding into it instead
Yes,
of vilifying it,
that's right.
And thank you so much for sharing that, because I love that, when people can just, yeah, I was an idiot then, and because this is what teaches, our like mistakes. So what did you just say? Fuck, the energies are so high. With
Well,
oh
I
yeah.
was,
So
yeah,
wait a second. So what the narcissist has is like an even deeper hole of not knowing who they truly are,
right,
and they don't feel enough. So they constantly need, attention and the kind of approval of the outside in order to feed, energetically feed that hole that constantly need feeding. Where the codependent constantly feeds other people in order to feel loved and needed. It's just these opposites. But what I can see also is that the narcissist needs that. So you need that fake love. Actually, you need that time. And we all had times, especially during Ascension, you need so much alone time.
right.
Like I would be very agitated with my daughter when she was younger, because it was just energetically, I could not take it. I mean, there was so much else going on. But, where I felt like an asshole, not a good enough mother, like I was very aware of it. I was like in much like inner conflict with all of this, because it's like you need the time, in order to feed yourself with that love. Like, doesn't matter who we're talking about, especially on this process. And I guess the narcissists need this beyond everything. And, especially those people who have been transcending more these narcissistic blueprints and implates, they have a lot more that they, again, because you feel even less your true self, in alignment with, because like, but you see, I mean, the distortions happens on both sides, service to self and service to others. It needs to be service to all, because these whole talkings of you should just give and not expect anything back. And yes, on one level, it's true, we give from the heart. But if you constantly just do this and everybody just takes, because the taker has no limit, you end up fully, as we have talked about before, drained. And this doesn't help anyone either. The same as the mother. You need to make it, we need to find a nice balance when we can follow our own bliss, what makes us happy, as well as taking other people into consideration in our lives. That is service to all. When you're fully in alignment with, the ultimate oneness, in every now moment. Like, for example, my daughter, she would rather not have me do any work. I try when I am with her, because I'm not full-time with her, to reduce it, but I also sometimes just need to do my work.
Right.
And she wouldn't say the same to her dad, because like he does real work, in an office. But anyway, like that kind of thing. So it's like, okay, I'm here to literally like save the world, but okay, that means nothing.
Exactly, right.
It's
God,
hilarious.
you just said something.
I no wonder she really gets this, but it's like until then, that's what you've been feeling early on as well. You need to really feel all the shit you've been through, because we have sacrificed, not putting ourselves first, because we saw we needed to do this. As well as now coming back around to trying to find a happy medium that works for everyone, because there needs to be reciprocity. We can't have these distorted polarities anymore, where people are just giving, other people are just taking. So if they can't stop, you need to stop. So as the feminine stops playing the victim, stops taking on any projections or attacks, all of this bullshit, and it's like, so you either get my value or you don't get it. Next. Yeah. And then the masculine automatically, because the feminine births the masculine. So she always, kind of needs to kind of lead the way in a way within us all, the heart, which knows the truth. Then they also stop, doing what they're doing of overtaking, because they can't anymore. And they can't blame anymore. They can't project the shit anymore. It's just not happening in the field anymore. This has been cleared with that video I did. When I do speak on authority. I know I'm in authority with the divine. I speak on behalf of the divine, and I don't do this lightly. And I'm not like some little, like, again, when we all are here to do this, when we are in alignment with that.
You
and
are
I know
legit.
many other people out there also,
No, you're legit. We know who you are.
And I don't always get it perfectly right, but that's the thing. We love ourselves perfectly imperfect, because what has been sold to us as what we should be like, as what we need to be to get ascended, is bullshit. Just freaking love it all up. When you're in alignment, you can feel it. If you really tuned in, you just know, and it looks a little bit different for everyone.
Yeah.
or a lot different, but you know, the core is the same, that cosmic Christ blueprint, which is values, ethics, morals that we all share, and they're etched into they're literally written into our DNA and blueprint. And as long as you follow your conscience and intuition, because, you know, even when you were in those states, you knew deep down, you know, you were avoiding, but because you were in separation with yourself, even more so than the codependent, which would just be running around in the background, making sure everybody is okay, maybe your wife at the point or whoever, you know?
Right. Yeah, and I think it's been something that I've noticed in my travels. You know, like since probably 2016, as I've met people around the United States, as I've traveled, people that I worked with or collaborated online or other people, and obviously many of them very, very high frequency, pulling in very unique intel, sacred wisdom, and that type of thing. But one of the things that always kind of intrigued me was meeting somebody who was extremely high frequency, had extremely strong connection, had very good coding, yet they were unconscious and unaware of the level of narcissistic frequency turned on within them, right? And it was always struck. I thought, well, how can that be? But now, listening to you and kind of taking into consideration what's been happening gradually through the year up to this point, I think having a really strong connection could actually, because of the I don't want to say exclusivity, but say the superiority, the challenge to the ego, that could actually move you more unconscious from our narcissistic frequencies. And again, I'm with you. I believe we all have that. We all have the empath thing. And I just want to commend you on something that you said earlier, because I never thought about this before. I approached the narcissist in myself and the empath in myself with 100% compassion, like everything else, as I work on it without judgment. But what you just said really struck a chord with me earlier. When you said that, in other words, the way you said it, we often think of the narcissist empath as the empath's being drained by the narcissist, by the vampire. But the reality is, these are choices that we make, right? And so obviously, as we can all pretty much relate to at one time or another, we've been a doormat, we've been an overgiver, we didn't say anything. And so, yeah, we suffered, we depleted ourselves, we've corrected that now. But on the other side of it, we think the narcissist is gaining power. They're actually depleting their power. They're actually giving their, so they're both, I mean, to me, that makes it easier to bring those two into integration together, because they truly are polarities that we bring together in 0 Point. So thanks for that.
I think it's just easier for the codependent who's more strongly in those energies to integrate a shadow, because they've always been blamed anyway. And it's very hard, like, strong narcissists, they're like kind of, therapists don't want them. They don't want to go into therapy because they don't want to see there's anything wrong with them, because the level of shame and guilt is massive. That's what we need to understand. Because it's just, again, as children, they both have the same core wounds and traumas. It's just that they learn different ways of how to get their needs met. Me, for example, as a more codependent person, would have like, I need to have everyone happy. It's like I could read people's needs and then fill them. And you know what I mean? Just to like have a safe environment in a way for people, for you to be safe. And then other people have just learned, like huge levels of being blamed, or like shamed and guilted by their environment. So they can't be the bad girl or the bad girl, a bad girl or the bad boy. You know what I mean? These things where like, parents like, oh my God, on such a huge level, project all of their shadows onto the children, and that's then how these things happen. But again, we can bring this all to divine union within, because we have all of these aspects. And yeah, as you said before, with these high frequencies coming in, when you really tuned in, and I actually, although I'm really tuned in, I have a more really physicalized experience. I don't have a huge multidimensional up in the clouds, swirling around in galaxies. Like I have an awareness, but it's not like it might be for some other people like you're talking about. I have a very physicalized deal with this shit and transcend it all of these lower programs kind of reality. Yeah, it's rough. Now we're getting to the heavenly realms and experiences. But basically, I mean, what is harder to transcend in a human ego is the spiritual ego. And that's what's been running rampant out there. And every spiritual teaching, ideology, whatever out there has been hijacked.
Yeah.
Unless you follow your own divine gnosis, you're stuck somewhere on that level of false light matrices and stuck in these false light teachings, which are running reversals. Reversals are the service to self in a way. But also it's like, you know, it's these two blueprints of the human angelic and the fallen angelic, service to self, service to others, being merged in the middle, because none of them work.
Right.
Both of them actually have reversals, if you think about it.
Right. Right.
Because you know, so again, before we were like, la, 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 everything is fine. But then if somebody comes and wants to fucking take your children and rape your wife, you don't know what to do. You know what I mean? And we all had that big shame. Again, the same as me, not being able to provide a home for my daughter whilst I follow my calling. And I know some people don't get this. But even people who do work have problems, you know, to provide for their freaking family these days. Not freaking, but you get me. It's like, you know, it's so many things, and it's all coming to conclusion now, because it doesn't matter what conflict we have within, and we all have all of these aspects, and especially any trigger, anyone who triggers our wounds and traumas, they're really a gift to help bring it up and out. And it's up to us though to either project it out and make it all everyone else's fault of what's happening in your life, or take this responsibility and then say, hey, what can I do with this? And people like us have alchemized all of our traumas, wounds, traumas, everything that has been done to us, which has been horrendous things. That's what we really, you know, that's what you're healing also right now, is this core wound of you have been hunted down. Your divine feminine within right now is healing.
Absolutely. That's
and
why
she has been hunted down. She has been fucking vilified. She has been demonized. She has been judged. She has been projected upon, not listened to, taken for, you know, granted, pushed down, you know, all of this, because the mind can just not take responsibility in a way. You know what I mean? And again, we all do this, where we're not like, because we have shame and guilt of like, or it's been just so distorted of we can't see it within ourselves of what we see in others. So that judgment is ours. Whatever you judge, you're judging within yourself. Right. Whenever you're judging on opinions, I mean, I was seeing with my daughter so much YouTube, it's funny how many people are making millions with just expressing strong opinions, which is literally what is keeping us in polarity, which is like, yeah, we can laugh about it. And this is where we're getting to, where it's like, we're all different, but we still, you know, one, but we're not the same, but we're equal. It's the both ends of trying to get this right and really merging the shadow and the light, no longer projecting out or internalizing the shadow of like, it's not all you, it's not all them, it's ours.
It's right.
If you think someone out there is just, oh, they are possessed or whatever, listen, there's something in your field also. You know, we all have still distortions in the field until we're on heaven on earth. I can tell you that much. Fully dissolving right now with the freaking false matrix. That's all I see.
Well, and I love what you say too, because I think, well, first of all, that spiritual ego comment I think is huge, because I don't think, you know, say go 2, 3, 5 years ago, that it was the same. Like we had to go find our gifts, and we had to go reconnect to our lives and our planets, and you know, all the whole 9 yards. And it was a big boost to the ego, a big challenge to the ego. I remember 6, 7, 8 years ago, you didn't see light language, and then it became huge. But part of that spiritual ego that I think we're seeing happening in the spiritual communities, the you know, the collapse of it, will be things like somebody come out and say, for instance, hey, everyone's doing light language, but you don't know what you're doing. There's a certain way you have to do it, or you know, only I know how to do it, or only certain people know how to do it. I think that's the part that's happening to us now. That's part of the characteristic of it. But the main thing
is that happening?
I feel like that people are becoming more humble. They're becoming what you're describing. Yeah, I'm saying that it's happening. In other words, it's being equalized. But the main thing is the masculine and the feminine, the male and the female. That's what I see, because I have seen just as much distorted masculine coming at me in my lifetime, as out of female bodies and male bodies.
Even worse. But I think that's what we've been doing. I can see I've been holding actually a lot of masculine energy as well. And again, I can see my twin also the feminine, because again, we are integrating these, but we also been in the distorted, parts of that. So again, I also like a lot of the times you actually have the distorted masculine coming to you through the feminine, and vice versa, because I can also see a lot of masculine in the distorted feminine. It's crazy, but again, it's actually perfect, because that's what we had to transcend, because it doesn't matter what it's androgynous. That's the thing, because we are just putting it into words, and we are just feeling, I'm a woman, you're a man, and all of that stuff. But where we are going at also, I think we will also feel safe of also not having this, when you sometimes have this, when you're doing public work, and this whole gender thing as well, where you need to kind of be careful of like, especially me being single as such, well, on this level, but anyway, it's like, you don't even want to go there. How are people like coming at you? And I think where we are getting at is where we just fully feel safe within the opposite gender, and that you don't have these distorted sexual programs going on anymore, because that's also part of the reversals that have been running in the field, where this, what did you call it? Orgasmic union. But it's actually a key point, because sacred sexuality is the key to actually igniting this, I do believe. And it's already happening, but that's what's being inverted on a really huge level, throughout society, where it should be such a sacred thing. And obviously it's not been happening like this, but that's what we're returning to. And for me, it's all about really remembering and letting go of any kind of programs, belief systems that we've been taught out there. We naturally know how to do the stuff, all of it, I believe. And we just, all these courses, all of these activations, even the stuff that was not so great, and a lot of that was not so great, I've taken part in, it still has served a great purpose. That's what we need to see. It's the same as, it doesn't matter how a message comes to you, whether it's from a friend or a foe, it doesn't matter. It's still part of it. It's just our little polarized mind thinking, this is good, this is bad. And this is us projecting, it's demonizing things where, I mean, it's so funny where actually, religion has demonized Reiki, and there are actually a lot of spiritual teachings also, now demonizing it, where actually we all, in its natural sense, we are all energy healing machines, where energy flows through your system and it comes out of your hands, however you want to freaking call this. And I also believe there are distortions in all of these, teachings, but ultimately all of this is inherent, and some of these things might just ignite. For me, doing my first Reiki session was part of my awakening, and I just knew I had to do the master, but I wouldn't say anymore I'm doing Reiki. No. But we all channel energy. Even if you do massages, or acupuncture, you will still automatically give a person actually energy healing. And we do this automatically. If a woman is pregnant, they put their hands on their belly, or when you're hurt, you put your hands on a place where it's hurt, things like this. So for me, it's very much been about just remembering, just keep connecting like a child to your heart, to source. Like literally just, like I often say, if you want any kind of advice in your life, guidance, it's like clear your field, aka your mind, sit in nature, whatever, get into meditative kind of space, clear it all your preconceived ideas and notions, beliefs, expectations, and just ask the question to source. Connect with your heart to source, like a child would do, like a prayer. Ask the question and then see what comes in. And it's your intuition is usually the first thing that comes in. I mean, you need to learn how to differentiate between your ego, wounded, ego traumatized, self program speaking, and your intuition, your heart speaking to you. It takes, at the beginning, it takes a little while. But I think most of us listening here by now know what truth feels like. It's not based in fear. You can look at some hard truths and they're still based in love. And that's what we're getting to now, because it's a shift in consciousness of how we see reality and what has actually happened that heals. The same as when we heal. It's not that what has happened to us has changed. It's the way we're looking at it. And we see like, it's been a freaking blessing. And this is how this whole shit show has actually been. So if we can shift this, that's the pole shift. So see everything positively. Everything is a blessing. Everything is, that's you in a flow state. You're no longer in resistance. You don't judge. You don't ostracize. You don't demonize. You don't, like separate yourself from your creation. That's you at one with source and all of life everywhere, which is you.
Yeah, everything you said. And yeah, and this new perspective, or natural perspective, that's what I was referring to about, like the example with the spiritual community or spiritual ego too, is I can see them fading away. And part of the reason I can see them fading away is because you see the projection and then you kind of see the aftermath of it, right? Like people getting real opinionated or real political. You know, that obviously will have no place in a spiritual community or discussion. It just won't be there. It won't stay much. Yeah.
Because we've transcended the blueprints now and the templates, you know, as the core monad. So it's not supported in the field anymore.
That's right. That's right.
Like the same if the video was like, now, if you don't take on someone's projection, my field is just repelling this now. It just doesn't work anymore.
Right. Right.
And that's what you can always, I mean, we've been practicing on this, you know, a while, but this is literally done now. So again, it's like someone giving you a present. If you don't take it, who has it? You know, so if someone is giving you that projection, you're just like, no, this is your shit. This is not my shit. It's like, there you have it again. Yeah. And then when you've done this often enough, it doesn't even come up anymore because you don't have any doubts running in your mind, aka consciousness field, because it's all consciousness, no matter how complicated we want to make it. And it's that every trigger, everything that's and I could see the ego clearing very powerfully over this last week. But again, because it's a collective ego. So the collective ego is fully dissolving, which is fully, it doesn't stick in the field anymore because we stopped playing these games. This is why we're done. And this is fully dissolving the matrix because it's all been based on inverted thought forms, belief system based in separation and fear. And this is not based in truth. This is why this is a fake reality, you know, a fake simulation, because it doesn't matter what reality we are going to imagine and dream. You know, it's always a simulation, but it's like, is it based in truth, aka heaven on earth? When you tuned in, when you see through the eyes and heart of God, you project out heaven on earth. You would do nothing else. And it's the core monad, these original tribes and founder races, which we are part of, the 144,000, which hold the blueprint. So as we shift, all shifts. Don't you worry about anything else there. It's just like you're just seeing kind of people in your field. It's like those little rest parts of your consciousness fully dissolving in the field. You know, your tiny little bit of our false ego still dissolving. Because whenever I hear anyone bring any story to me, I know this is part of my story. You know what I mean?
Right.
Always.
Right.
Always.
Yeah.
Whenever anything is in your reality, it's freaking yours.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I was saying too. Like, I don't really get on to social media much, but I notice things and I have to contact, so I'll see things. And what I'm saying is that I notice that part of what I notice in this, like say the discourse, and somebody will post something and then somebody says something back. And it's funny because the person posting, or what I was observing, which I found really interesting, was basically doing what they said people were doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Like,
because
and so I was like, "Whoa, that's going to be we're seeing this." So that's going to
because even the victim, when they blame the victimizer, they're doing what the victimizer is doing, because that's the fun part of this whole victimizer game. In the end, you don't know who's who anymore because we're both.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you would not say nothing, and you're just observing.
You cannot be.
What you're doing, you're playing the neutral observer perspective. You're playing God. As you can observe this playing out in your reality, you see all parts of you playing out. As you just hold the neutral observer perspective, this dissolves in the field because it's all just consciousness. These are all just kind of all parts of you going back to source.
Yeah.
As you no longer, judge them, like, because I could also see, us judging the judges or things like this, and it's like, you can go down and really keep going down as well. So again, it's the neutral observer perspective. This is your cosmic womb also. You dissolve and co-create from this 0 point field, the still point. That's you at one with God source consciousness, the heart and mind of God. You see everything from this perspective. You still have your discernment in charge, but this is where you dissolve and co-create realities from now. It's constantly like, dream it, let it go. Dream it, let it go, because the non-attachment is absolutely key in creation, always, especially right now, because again, everything is transient. All of this physical reality, is always transient. So nothing is forever, especially now. And it's you fully connected with the oneness, doesn't need to be attached to anything anyway. And because you're fully connected at one with all of your creation. And from that space, you can create and collapse realities. And this is the field of divine love. You still have discernment, but you don't have judgment, you don't have resistance. There's no charge, there's no discord in the field. Everything feels fully aligned, and you can see the dream for what it is. And that's how you become the master of the dream. You take it, your role seriously, playing this, and now turning on your magical self, because this is what we came for. We're not waiting for anyone to come here and turn on Ascension or bring down the light chips. You're bringing them online into your reality, onto your holographic screen from the inside out, as you turn on your multidimensional DNA. And it's ultimately the frequency of divine love, which is activating our multidimensional DNA and healing all of this, truly. And it's not, the fake love. It's omni love. It's all kinds of love.
Yeah.
It's true, pure love. It's divine love. And this is literally, this is the supernova of the heart event, but it's the ultimate self-love moment. So it doesn't matter, it's not coming ultimately from another person. It's happening from inside of you, as you say. And then it's going to project it out. So we don't need to worry about what's happening out there. Look within to truly awaken, because if you look out there, you dream. So it's ignited from within, and then it will be out there. So it's an inside-out event, as I'm seeing this, which we're kind of feeling is here now.
Yes. Well, yes, it comes from, you're absolutely right. And you're right. And it goes back to what I heard last night with because all of those loves extrapolate to in our present consciousness to self-love, because I cannot love the universe more than I love myself, or vice versa. It's all the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So my level of embodiment is directly measured by how much I love myself, and that's a very short way to say it, but it's everything that you're talking about. All the different types of love. It's we could also use some other words like humility, innocence, purity. I mean, there's not words for it really, but you're right. Everything that we're creating now, more than ever, and much faster than ever, is coming from all from inside. It's no longer projecting out for anything. It's all taking it here, and it's amazing because as this happens, things happen around you, right? Things just start to happen, like things that you actually created, and even in the collaboration with others, I've noticed that. Like with what happened with you, it's happened in the last 2 weeks with 4 or 5 other people. It'll just pop in.
It's like the false self will create false realities. You can only be at war with yourself because you're not in alignment with truth. So of course we've been in discord with the self and then projected that out as wars and discord with other people, because again it all comes back to the relationship we have with ourselves, and that's where we get to change it. So it doesn't matter where we move to, what job we have, what we do, who we are with. If we don't change from deep within, we keep projecting out the same programs, realities, the deepest held beliefs and expectations. And what we are feeling right now is just the truth arising from within. This is disclosure. It's not us looking at some screens. It's you awakening up on New Earth, and you remember, oh my God, we've been dreaming all of this because we were stuck in forgetfulness and separation. And as this is fully transcended within the one consciousness, you literally wake up in the only true reality there ever was, which is you in full alignment with God's source, you in love bliss, because again, this is divine union with yourself, with source, and this is also with everyone else, because it's all the same. Because again, whatever we judge or love within another, it's actually a reflection of how we love or judge ourselves. It really all is. Doesn't matter how long. And I mean, through our journey again, we keep thinking, really, really, really? And then it's now, I think now we're certain, yes, really, this is the truth.
Yeah, that's true.
We've gotten here,
Yeah, that's true though. Like I never thought of that, but we always think about the bad stuff,
But it's a programming, because it's such a victimized programming out there. We're always the victims. We're always looking for drama. It's also, look at these people, and oh my God, they're so terrible. It's like always like those out there. It's this whole, all across the board, we've been filled with programming that's like either pushing down a shadow, it's not there, pretending everything is great, or projecting it out there onto the screen and it's the other people,
Right.
but we can't go within. It's like ultimately you need to be able to face your shadow through introspection, being honest with yourself, being able to go there. But the key is, once you understand none of this is you,
Right.
it's absolutely non-fucking personal.
Right.
We all just take up this shit as soon as we are born here. And again, the individualized self is a total illusion. And that's the only thing that's dying here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Because you
like
can't
that.
die. Your eternal self can't
Right.
die. Your eternal consciousness, and you're dreaming all the time. But what do you want to dream? That's the important thing now. So as we transcend and let go of all this shit, all this programming that has created this inverted reality, we're home, which
Yeah.
is self-love. Because again, divine, what is God? God is love.
Yeah.
It's an energy. It's beyond some emotion or romantic, idea we have. It's in total oneness with everything. It's total love bliss. That's rapture. That's you fully annihilating your false, separated ego self. Fully dissolve into the oneness right now. You don't even, in the end, you don't need any more protection, nothing, ultimately. You really don't.
No.
Like, again, I'm not saying not to do this in your spiritual practice, but ultimately, when I go into meditation, merge with the oneness, there's nothing anymore. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You're just one with everything.
Yeah. I
That's
like
how
what
you
said.
rebirth it.
Yeah, I like what you said earlier about pray like a child. I do that every night. I pray
This
like a
is the
child.
most natural thing.
Yeah.
We don't need to be told how to fucking do this. We don't need a guidebook. We don't need an activation, meditation. And a lot of these have created a lot of havoc in our light bodies and fields.
Right.
I can tell you that. And especially the ones who told us that all the others were terrible and they have the magic solution.
Well,
Fuck them.
well,
Sorry,
and I've been saying this since the beginning of the year, as we got into 2023. I'm not saying this is what's happening, but what I'm saying is it feels like I kept hearing you guys have already done what you came here to do. So like the echo of trying to expand Soulogy or the echo of doing a Soulogy fest, it's a different thing. I can't really explain it, but like I think we underestimate all the work we've done over the years, the energetics of it that created the transformation and got us to this
Oh,
point.
done already.
Right. And the other thing too, like listening to you, because I like to challenge myself. I like to come up with little ways, little simple ways of expanding my love and my self-respect, and then that turns into with others, right? And that is, how many people do I look at and go, wow, I love that aspect of me. I really admire that aspect of me, and start to, instead of, because we were programmed to see the bullshit and either put someone on a pedestal or put them down as an inferior. But how many people can we take in and say, wow, I really love that person. I love that aspect of me. Instead of saying, oh, I wish I could do that, or they're an asshole, or whatever the case is. I mean, there seems to be like part of the embodiment is the conscious human part of us, this part of us that's actually in line with the multidimensionality, that's practicing what is natural to us, that begins to reinforce it repetitively.
Your true self, yeah.
Right? As opposed to hanging on to any old habit that's just going to depreciate our opinion of ourselves, be it an addiction or be it a belief system or a prejudice or a bias. But this is good stuff.
But it's all this whole thing of like thinking we are more or less than others. That's what we've all been at. It's the same as when we sometimes feel totally like insecure, and other times like this overinflated ego self. I'm so great,
Right.
Where and it's natural to be actually narcissistic. Most children are narcissistic because the world is yours and it should revolve around you in a way. But what you need to integrate is that all of these other people are parts of you. So, but that's again, as we've split in consciousness and fallen, the split brain, you can't integrate the both ends. It's been very hard for the right and left brain to integrate the both end, the paradoxes, because it needs to have things either this or that way, and puts it into compartmentalization in little boxes, and they are imaginary. So you have to let it all go. And this is the thing, the mind is literally dying here, this false ego mind, and it's afraid of its own annihilation, naturally. So it's kicking and screaming on its way out. So you just have to see it for what it is. And what's really coming online is the Krystic mind. It's the God mind, pure God source consciousness. You don't have to figure the shit anymore out. The same as me. I have to keep cruising my life right now, one now moment to the next, literally.
Yeah.
And I know there are many reasons for that because we're anchoring this fully in. I've been doing this for years, this whole, fully transcending time. It's just really just, it's just been anchored in your intuition and flow, and just you being your own highest authority. And it's just like perfecting self-guidance. That's you being sovereign, free, and in your God self. And that's kind of what I'm here to share and trying to awaken within others, which all of this really comes back to. And that's you developing your own gnosis, which it doesn't mean that you can't pick up things along the way. Obviously, they all, helped us to get here. It's all part of it. But then in the end, you kind of let it all go, like generally, all beliefs and thought forms, because we do have to think all new thoughts, believe all new beliefs in order to create all new realities. If we keep doing things, believing things, expecting things how they have been, we keep getting the same thing. Are you having my camera going all crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I
saw
saw your third eye a while ago. I was
Really?
looking at you, and this eye comes out like that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know if it was on camera. Yeah, this is
Fun.
great stuff. Hey, yeah, this has been really cool. I don't know
Thank
if
you
wanna,
so much.
I don't know if you want to cover
Always.
anything else. It's been an hour and a half, but I mean, I'm cool. Whatever.
I also want to get some dinner actually, so that's perfect for me.
Okay. Can you hang on a second?
yeah.
Go ahead. Okay. Yeah.
No?
Because I want to talk to you real quick. It just take a second. So
Sure.
let me say goodbye to everybody. Goodbye.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody. I'll get this
Thanks so much.
replay over to
Tuning
you.
into your hearts, people. That's the one thing I would say. Just keep opening them all the way up. There's literally in the end, like a fully healed heart is what makes you invincible and impenetrable. And there's nothing more to feel. You at one, fear. Nothing anymore. You at one with everything. That's ascension. Okay. So just
Boom.
keep dropping into the heart. It knows the way.
Boom. Thanks. I'm going to cut the stream off. We'll see y'all later. Let me
Thank you
click
all so
that
much.
off.
Thank
And
you.
let me click the recording off. Here, right here.